everybody. Welcome back to the Lost Legion. I'm Adam, joined as always by Daniel. I'm going to whoop everybody in the Escalation League and enjoy a new Battle Force box.
Eh,
And by JR, I'm still not going to get a poster Dieter.
Uh, that's actually changed. I'm getting one from Toby and Ian. So I just need the Civil War boxes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the winner just picks the Civil War box.
So you're gonna get all these posters framed and then put them on your wall?
Yeah, right behind me. Right behind me
Nice.
when I get it done.
That'll be cool.
No, you're not going to get crap. I'm just telling. I'm telling you, if I win, it's not happening.
You know, you don't get the box I'm gonna pull out before you. Before I give it to you.
Let's do some quick podcast announcements. First and foremost, I want to send, sorry, can't talk today, a quick thank you out to JT and the staff over at Ender's Games. They have given us some awesome prize support for the Escalation League. I'm not sure if you can see it behind me, but it is going to be all that stuff on the top row. Get that, channeled my inner Vanner White. I also want to send out a quick thank you and shout out to Aaron from Pocket Dimension Studios. Can't really tell you why that is as of yet, but that guy is amazing.
Aaron Pocket
Dimension
Studios.
Studios. Uh-huh.
Interesting. I have no idea what that is.
I'm just saying he's got my quick thank you, and you guys can drop the subject, and you could be surprised with the rest of the podcast world.
Wow.
So other than that, the other news is Escalation League. I believe right now we're up to 11 players, sure?
Yeah. Currently, as it stands, we're at 11 players. Today, obviously, you guys are gonna be seeing this Monday, so we're recording on Sunday, or they'll be seeing it on Monday. We're recording on Sunday. So there's still time for people to sign up and join, so that might change. But as it sits, 11 players, and I will be subbing in as a buy.
So come on, we need one more person. Nobody wants to play JR.
This is true. Very true.
Like we touched on, prize support is coming along great. I have some terrain currently being printed that will be thrown in. We have 3 Landos, an Iden, and some movement tools. And of course, the BF box. And maybe I might throw in a couple other things. I mean, we might do a date night with Daniel. Winner gets a date night with Daniel.
Hey, how do we get those things that Ender gave us?
So I figured we would have a after podcast meeting, either if you guys have time today or sometime this week, and just discuss we want to give it to second place, third place, or let them pick, just discuss how we're going to do it. But
Sounds good.
It's fun. It was great. JT didn't have to do all that, but it's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of want a Lando. I
Well,
think
I'll tell you.
Lando's. I was gonna say I think Lando's underrated. I think people are sleeping on him.
Maybe. Rebels have so many good characters though.
That's true.
Like they're not
Well-
missing good characters.
I'll sell you a Lando for $150.
No deal, my man. No deal.
Let's see. So Escalation League's coming along great. We got all those players. It's going to be fun. Real quick, we're gonna switch gears here into the regular Star Wars Legion news. I didn't add it into show notes, but SoCal Open dropped a bomb. And I don't agree with this one bit. Daniel, do you know what bomb they dropped?
Yeah, they're gonna be letting people use the new Din Djarin and IG11/IG88 at the tournament, even though it's supposed to drop. Is it the day of the tournament that it
The
drops?
day of.
Yeah, so typically it has to be out for a week or two. And I think SoCal Open even had like a deadline for release that had to happen before it would be allowed at the tournament. But they're making an exception for these two. Yeah, and I was definitely surprised when they decided to do this, just because yeah, no one's gonna have like an actual painted model for these, which is gonna be a little disappointing. And it's not like there's not gonna be another tournament. Like I think what is it, like 2 weeks later, there's gonna be Golden Gate, so you can go use your Dinjar and your IG-11 there. Like I don't know. I don't see why we're making an exception for these two models. So yeah, I agree with you, Adam.
Well, and it's not only that. I posted it in our Discord, which everybody join our Discord. I'll post the link on the screen. We're always welcome new members, whether you're local or international. Please come join us, hang out, have fun. But they said that they were talking to their local retailers and to AMG themselves about letting the tournament players get them a couple days early so they had time to paint. Which that is another. Yeah, I'll throw it on screen. Let me bring up the Discord real quick. It'd be easier, faster for my phone. And I'll read you exactly their release.
Well, since you're doing that, to be honest, I'm actually for it. Just so that people can see how he plays and then nerf him. That's faster. Let's do that. uh, but it's gonna be interesting because we haven't seen all of IG88 and the IG811's cards yet. So
hmm
I'm assuming we're gonna get an article soon before it drops. But if we don't, like, they're just gonna be surprised.
Okay, so I guess I read into it, but the way it's worded, that's how I took it. So here's their actual post. Again, I'll throw it on the screen. It says, "Hello there. For all upcoming SoCal Open, us organizers agree to allow Dinjarin and Grogu and IG Series Assassin droids to be legal. We know all of our Legion players are super excited to use these new units, and we did not want to limit the fun. Since they are releasing the first day of the event, we will also allow proxy units. We are trying to work with local stores as well to take delivery and pre-orders."
Yeah, and I'm kind of okay with it, except for the proxy unit thing. The proxy unit I think is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want if you're running the tournament.
So
Yeah, it just seems a little funny.
I'm surprised with how big of a tournament it is that AMG is allowing proxies to begin with. Because
I'm
I don't know.
for
I don't know, is AMG like officially affiliated with it? Because it's not, it doesn't have a world invite or anything like that.
Oh,
So actually on our Discord, Raf had mentioned that before FFG had an official statement that you couldn't use units that haven't released 2 weeks prior to the tournament. I mean, he was saying that AMG, on the other hand, doesn't have their policy is the TO, whatever the TO wants, they don't care. So that's why you're seeing Din Djarin being played is because there's no limit that FFG was using. It's just, hey, if TO allows it, it allows it. Um, which I'm for proxies because you have more fun playing models that you want painted. For instance, I have a samurai empire, and it's just to me, it's just this whole game is about modeling the way what you want, the way you want it. Let's let them have fun with it.
I agree and disagree with the proxies. I agree, like if we're doing a local game, if we're doing like our escalation league allows it, like stuff like that, I'm all for. Like play your samurai army, I don't care. But if you're doing something as big as SoCal Open, or let's just say the Golden Gate tournament, and no, or not, I believe yeah, November, the Golden Gate tournament, like as a company owner, I want my products out there. I don't want somebody else, like the proxies.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that.
but as it stands right now, because I asked this in the Discord, is there's no it's only there's no print and play for these cards. So as long as you must have the cards, you're still buying their product, but using a different model, right? And to me, that's still getting their money while adding onto the fun of just like, hey, yeah, you can use this samurai stuff. You know, I could see the little like nuances of like, well, your dewback isn't a dewback, and theoretically, you could see more of a dewback than my samurai horse, right? That could cause a problem. I can see where that is. But there's an easy rule to fix that. Give a disadvantage to the proxy people. Like, hey, if there's any discrepancy, um, the person that's running the proxy automatically loses that.
hmm
I know I've done that many times in our games. Like, hey, if there's any question about what's going on, I'm giving it to you automatically.
Okay, you've never done that in our games.
I've never done a proxy against you, have I?
I don't
All
know. I
right.
fought a lot of B1 pikes.
Yeah.
Well, they're different. They get silhouettes. They have a silhouette rule for that.
So let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, which is Din Din himself, Mando Dinjarin. His cards were spoiled.
Yeah, they
Holy
were.
cow. Those cards are pretty good. Pretty good. JR, if you got us up, let's start with his command cards. And I'll let you pick if you want to start with the 1 pip or 3 pip.
Yeah. Let me start with the 2 pip. Because me and Nick were talking about it. So pretty much this one says Dinjajaran gains a name. After Dinjajaran performs an attack action, he may perform an additional attack against a different unit. Uh, so I like this card. It allows you to use, your melee weapon and shoot because his gun is versatile. Um, Nick wanted to just say like, why can't it just be gunslinger? And I think the reason for that was because a gunslinger is only for a ranged attack, and everything that Mando has, it seems like he very much wants to be a melee user. He's got his best spear, his Din's ambient rifle,
Hmm.
and those are very melee things. So I think that's why they didn't put gunslinger on it and just wanted to do like, hey, if you're a melee, you could do this and then you could shoot out.
Yeah, I was kind of iffy about it too. I was like, man, why it's gunslinger. But I like it. I like it. I think it fits him well. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
See,
he's definitely an interesting character because aside from his rifle, he really wants to be really close to you,
Right.
which is interesting because, you know, I feel I feel like you need to take. Well, we'll get to it when we get to the upgrades. I'll talk to you about that.
okay. Dana, you want to pick one and go next?
Sure. I'll just go with his 1 pip, the other one we hadn't seen yet. So that's This Is the Way. And he gains 1 dodge token and relentless. It's pretty straightforward. Um, I like that it's relentless, so it gives him both the charge because he does want to do the melee stuff, or he can shoot if he's not close enough to people. So really straightforward card, solid. I like it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a pretty good card too. I mean, honestly, the way they built him, I'm quite surprised he just doesn't have relentless built in.
I mean,
Mm,
You
do
know,
good if he did.
well, yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like the way he's built so far, I'm surprised he doesn't have agile 4, relentless, independent aim.
I actually would have liked to
Jedi
see
Hunter.
charge built into his spear. I think that would have been kind of cool. But
Yeah,
That
this
would
is a
be
good
cool.
alternative to that.
yeah.
I'm gonna take the next one. I'm not gonna cover whistling birds. I feel like all the people that want to know about it have already known about it because it's was spoiled. But I'm gonna take the hand thing. First of all, this is my favorite art of all the cards. I
It's pretty
love the
cool.
art. Just Grogu making his force barrier with some flames coming out. This card cannot be selected during the command phase. It is a 2 pip, sorry. When a friendly unit at range 1 and in line of sight of Grogu is declared as defender against a ranged attack, you may discard this card from your hand. If you do, the defending unit gains 2 dodge tokens and gains deflect.
It's so good.
It's a really
It's
solid card,
so good.
especially because you're gonna drop it with no notice.
Yeah,
Like that's
Mm-hmm.
neat.
yeah. I love this card so much because you could combine this with a lot of commanders or a lot of units, especially those that have nimble. And it's just this is why Grogu's 70 points. This card alone.
So I
Yeah, well,
was
I mean, it didn't make sense before that. So
Yeah, valid.
so I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take my pikes. Oh, you stripped all those dodges? Oh no, wait here, they can have 2 more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
That's
gonna be
more
good.
pike spam.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Great card. It's gonna be fun. JR, you want to take the spear?
So the Bespin Spear is 2 reds, 1 black. You gain Duelist while performing a melee attack. If you spin an aim token, gain Pierce 1. While defending against a melee attack, if you spin a dodge token, you gain immune to Pierce. And this is the upgrade I was talking about earlier. I feel like you want to take this over the rifle because one of Mando's weakness is Pierce. And if you take the Bexpar Spear, and Hand Thing, like you immediately can set up plays where, oh, this guy's gonna pierce me. Well, I get the 2 dodges, and then now I get immune to Pierce, which I think is more important than the rifle, in my opinion.
Throw
Well, he
vigilance
does
on him too.
have impervious, like all the other Mandalorians. I actually am of the opinion that you should probably go with the rifle,
I feel
just
like
because you don't get that much from the immune pierce.
I feel like the I agree with you. He does have Impervious as a backup, but I feel like Impervious is unreliable. It's not gonna get all the time, whereas Immune Pierce is like guaranteed to make sure that he doesn't get pierced away because he only has 5 health, right? If he doesn't take Grogu, which I think is survival. Well, I guess it'll depend on the survival thing.
I like it. I agree with Daniel. Take it over the rifle. Partly because I freaking hate that rifle and the way that it's worded.
I was gonna say
But
the best bar spear is 15 points. I didn't say that before.
Daniel, you want to take us into the flame projector?
Sure. So it's a pretty straightforward flamethrower. It gives you 1 red with spray, so 1 red for each mini that you're attacking. It's got blast and it's got suppressive, range melee or 1. And you have to get rid of it after you use it, and it's 8 points. I think that this is almost an auto include, just because you need to have a big dice pool, because otherwise, like, you'll have this hugely expensive unit that wants to get in melee. And so me as a player, what I would do is I just drop B1s on him and say, have fun. Like, I don't care. Kill 1 squad of B1s all game.
Yeah.
But with this flame projector, I'll be a lot more careful because the first turn I'll lose a full squad.
Not to mention with his 2-pip, he could shoot and do the flamethrower
Yeah.
melee and flamethrower. So, and then his 1-pip gets relentless, which could be nasty as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an auto include. 8 points. Like, I'll make room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just have a 7-point bid instead of a 15-point bid. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about some recent tournaments. Guys, there is the That's No Dark Sphere 2 from the London series. This took place on October 9th. So we're about a week behind it. It was about 20 players, if I'm not mistaken, and the top eight was 1 Rebels, 2 Imperials, 1 Gar, and 2 Separatists. I am quite surprised that Gar is in there, but let's talk about the first place winner.
Wait, the Gar's in the top 8? Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, Gar's in the top 8. You sounded just as surprised as me.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, I'm looking for Gar. I don't see Gar. I was like, oh, yeah, because of the Republic. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Ollie Deer is the one who made this list. It's 2 Rebel officers with vigilance, electro binoculars. OP Luke versus speed, force push, force reflexes into the fray. He had 4 Rebel troopers with the DLTs, the Rebel trooper captain, situational awareness, 3 commando strike teams with the sniper, and that was his list. Solid list. I mean, obviously, solid list. It took first place. What do you guys think about that?
It's the classic Op Luke DLT spam. It's basically the Rebel version of Pikes. So yeah, it's gonna do really well.
You can't go wrong with OP Luke, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's solid.
I would venture to say the best unit in the game.
We could debate that all day. I have a funny feeling we're gonna do that.
Second place, Daniel, you got it up?
Yeah, so this is Shadow Collective. we've got it's all Black Sun basically. So we've got 2 Vigos with environmental gear, 5 Black Suns with the Magdet, the Extra Man, environmental gear, and frag grenades. So those are really kitted out Black Suns. Then you've got
Mhm.
Maul with choke, push, tenacity, and saber. And then you've got an AA5 with just the medic. So it looks like this list is trying to just either pull in Maul or a Black Sun with the AA5 and then have it just hang around and bring back all these red saves, which I like that a lot. Like that's a cool strategy. I always like in your face lists, so I'm partial to this list.
Do we
Yes.
do we know if these games are streamed?
I do not believe they're streamed.
Because I could see why this lost to the OP Luke. It's because
These were
just like,
both 3-0s, so they didn't play each other.
they didn't.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. There goes my whole theory then.
I was surprised with this list, and honestly, this list is why I picked this tournament. Since the Shadow Collective came out, I mean, this is the first time I've seen somebody spam Black Suns. Not saying it's not being done, it's just the first time I've been like, oh, somebody's actually spamming them. Just because I think they were overshadowed by the Pikes, and Black Suns are good.
Yeah, I think it's hard because they are fairly expensive for a core. So to spam
Yes.
them is a little rough, but I mean, this list makes it work.
They're still cheaper than phase twos. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
JR, you want to take us in the list 3? We're just going to cover the top 3.
Okay. Which is weird because I guess this tournament only had a couple rounds, 3 rounds, because there's a lot with the same records. Top 3 was Iden Versio, offensive push, Overwatch, Iden's rifle, Boba Fett with Hunter, comms relay, shore troopers, mortar, stormtrooper, Inferno squad, with Delmico, Gideon Hask, offensive push, emergency transponders, 2 strikes teams, with duck and cover, and 3 speeder bikes. And yeah, this list looks pretty good. 11 activation, 790. Iden's always been good, but I think the combination with Boba just really like seals the deal of how good they are because he did take. Did he take? No, he doesn't even have the new Boba cards. Wow.
Yeah, Boba's still just solid. I mean, with the extra dice, he's threatening and he's not that expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boba's in a good place. He is gonna make a lot more appearances, I think.
Mhm.
I did say, we were going to stop at 3, but I do want to talk about 5 real quick, the only guard list in the top 8. And the reason I want to bring this up is it's Annie, Padme, Phase 1's, Clone Commander, and 3 Barks. So Anakin, Force Push, Saber Throw, Tenacity, Up Close and Personal, Padme, Vigilance, Situational Awareness, Recon Intel, 1 phase 1 with the RPS, 2 phase 1s with the Z6, 1 arc strike team with the sniper, of course, 1 clone commander with vigilance, and 3 naked barks. I don't know how I feel about 3 naked barks.
Honestly, Padme Anakin is a mean combo. I've used to face it all the time with Joshua the Professor, and it does really good. They complement each other really well. And with the Bark Speeders, like you have to make a decision, Anakin or the Bark Speeders. And Anakin is usually backed up with Padme token, so it's solid.
you also have like a lot of good fire support platforms here because the Barks surge, Anakin surges. And so if you get phase 1s shooting into either of those pools, that's a big deal. That'll hurt.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
I think I would drop the clone commander for sure. I mean, that's 60 points. You can add another strike team.
But I'm pretty sure he's using the Clone Commander as tokens, right?
Yeah, he's using it for the observe, which gives a cert, not observe. I forget what it's called, but it gives him surge, can handle
Bolster.
surges, and then vigilance. So I understand why, but that 60-point token generator is expensive to me.
I mean, it also generates the order. So if you're trying to do like fire support into Anakin Saber Throw, that's a really nice way to do it because then you can play Anakin's card, but still be having somebody who's going to threaten it.
Yeah.
Still use that direct. True.
Because yeah, fire support is really nasty if you do it right, and a lot of people don't do it effectively.
This list looks like it's set up to do that, though. I guess we would have to see how it plays. If he's really going for the fire support, then I think the commander's a good choice. If he's not, then yeah, I agree with you. You could either maybe try to fit in an echo strike.
Yeah. No, good list, great list overall. I don't know. I might try it. I have everything to do it. Just put it on the table, see what happens. I'll lose, but that's what it is. So live stream games, guys. I got a game in with David Fott. You can find it on our YouTube. He is a new / returning player, so it's a lot more learn to play. I did a couple mistakes here and there, but overall, my double ISP list did exactly what I wanted it to do, and that was take everybody down to one activation or make them run. He had Obi-Wan, the tank, some phase ones, and some snipers. He wanted to run both Obi-Wan and the tank. I tried to tell him it's too expensive, pick one. Obi-Wan doesn't really do anything for this list, but when you're a new player, you want to run what you think is cool, not really competitive.
I still do that.
So for his first game back in, I don't know, it's been like at least 6 months since he's played. He did pretty good. He was a great opponent. He got me in a couple open shots that I just didn't plan for because I'm a noob. The saber tank still hurts bad. He almost one-shotted an ISP.
Oof.
Yeah. It was bad. And then I used the new mics. I guess I should have thrown podcast in the podcast news, but I did get us some lapel mics. And so the sound on it's a lot better. You still get a lot of background noise, but you can hear the players actually talking about what they're doing and stuff. So it was a great time. I'll throw up the link to the video on the screen if you get a chance. I mean, I understand nobody really wants to watch a game for 2.5 hours, but click through, go through, just enjoy the game.
So I actually watched. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I actually watched a little bit of this game, and I had a comment. I know JR's Learn to Play gets a lot of crap, but I noticed that some ISPs were counting for intercept points.
They do.
And I was like, oh, I see how it is. Adam's also trying to get those easy wins.
They do, because isn't intercept a unit leader?
I like when you call out Adam, he gets like that deer headlights. What?
No. This one I'm legit confused because I thought intercept was just the unit leader, which the
intercept
ISP
is
would be.
trooper.
Is it trooper?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird because it's the skirmish one. The skirmish one counts anything,
Yes.
but the regular one only counts troopers. I always get it confused too. That's why when I saw you do it, I was like, oh, do I have it wrong? And then I checked the rule and I was like, nope, Adam's cheating.
Yeah, well, Adam is definitely cheating. Don't get it past him. He knew. He's like, I can't lose to a new player right now.
Not on stream, no.
But I did cheat fairly because I also did count his saber tank for the.
No, I saw that. So full credit on that.
So at least I cheated fairly.
I know it's breakthrough, bombing run, key positions, I think, are the only ones in an 800-point game that vehicles can contribute to. Anything but a trooper. Or sorry, those are the ones that anything can contribute to those objectives.
Okay, well, so now we have established that I cheat, that they are cheats. Next week, our hot take will be Daniel cheating.
Yeah.
Got to stay off stream for a week.
Let's see. JR, did you get any games in?
Actually, I wanted to talk about a game that I haven't, because I've been moving, so I haven't really played a game, but I want to talk about this gnarly game that it just seemed like the gods were on my side. It was a TTS game, and it was a ladder game. I was playing my LVO list, and my opponent was playing 2 lats, snows with flamers. He had a bunch of snows. He had 3 snows, 1 with the repair bot, and then 2 naked snows. Sorry, not a repair bot, a healing bot. No, it was a repair bot. Two repair bots, and then 1 naked snow. He had Black Suns, kitted out, capo, scattergun, and yeah. So he was at 8 activations, I want to say, because he had Vader, and then the two lats. And our map was Tatooine, so a lot of buildings, a lot of line of sight blocker, but it was intercept and it was clear conditions. So at the beginning of the game, I knew I just wanted to take 2 of these points rather than try to fight for 3, because I knew he just wanted to throw Vader into my line. So this is a game where I needed Maul to play defensive and just stay with the pikes, because that's going to be nasty. The lats were kitted out with the weapons, so it could do potentially a lot of damage. So I put everything on the right side of the map, which had a good line of sight blocking and cover, Maul, pikes, everything. As he was putting his guys, because we were playing hemmed in, so I got to choose from both ends where he had to do in the middle. He started putting everything towards me, that on the right side of, so where my guys were to eventually, throw the lat down there. He then put 1 snow to contest his point on the left side. Seeing that, I decided to put one of my capo squads of pikes on the left side so it could deal with that single snow, because my capo is going to beat those snows unit. So pretty much, this guy got cheated out of so many things that he played smart. I actually made a mistake. So he, I have to shoot the lat because it's coming. I get some wounds on it. He repairs them off. He sends one of the snows to go contest the point that I'm trying to take with one squad because he knows I'm going to take that. Sure enough, that squad dwindles down the snows that are already there because it's a naked squad. And he sends the lats. The lats come, they do some damage and everything. He does not take Vader out because he knows Maul's around. He gets one of the lats a little too close. So Maul jumps and force chokes the scattergun that's in the lat. So he was down scattergun. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Um, then he pulls out the Black Suns. They shoot. They do some damage. I really want to take this last down because Commander Vader is going to be nasty if he gets into my lane. So my mistake was I eventually jumped up, and he's shooting at Maul at this point, and Maul's blocking everything. I'm talking everything. It seems like I'm scripting because I was blocking so much things. Then I jumped to melee the lat, and when I did that, he's like, "You can't melee a lat." I was like, "There's my mistake. I totally forgot that." So then Vader comes out, swings at Maul, blocks everything. Then he force pushes Maul. He also had Cad Bane. No, he had Bosk. I think it was Cad. No, I think it was Bosk. So then he had Bosk, and Bosk went and shot at um one of those mercenaries. I can't remember. Anyways, shot at Maul. Maul blocks them all again. So then this is where I feel like he raged, and rightfully so. He played pin down next turn, put it on the lat, and I had only played Maul's cards because my whole list just wanted that Maul to have an order.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes first because I think I played a 3-pip. I think pin down's a 2-pip. He puts on the lat. The lat backs up, shoots Maul. Maul tokens has to go back in my 10 pull. And sure enough, I shuffle the stack, I draw, and I draw Maul. I draw
Oh
Maul.
man.
Bro, he was so pissed, and I felt so bad. I was like, "You gotta think I'm scripting, my man, because if you don't, I would think I was scripting if I didn't play this game." Um, and yeah, and there was a lot of stuff like that where he would just go get a good dice roll, I'd block it, or just and he pretty much just raged that game, and I don't blame him because he did everything right that he could because his was an uphill battle, an 8 versus a 10, and he just didn't get nothing, and I felt so bad. I wanted to give that guy a shout out because I'm with you, bro. I wasn't scripting. I don't know how to script. Don't give me that much credit, but that was brutal to watch. That was very brutal.
So I have a question, and it's from the very beginning. You force choked somebody in a closed transport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This was actually going to be a rules question for I was going to ask, but I didn't take it because I knew this was going to come up in the game I was going to talk about. Um, Same thing as the ambient rifle. Same wording is especially other than the ambient rifle, you don't have to have line of sight with force push. So as long as you have range and the units in the close transport, you can choke them. I did not know that. I went in and I was just like, and I made a joke. I was like, I'm gonna force choke the scatter gun, like just laughing it away. He's like, okay. I was like, is that actually a thing, my man? He's like, and he was a little bitter. He's like, yeah. I was just like, whoa, I did not know
Let's
that.
see. I brought up the transport rules real quick.
Go
When
for
it's
it.
being transported, cannot spend tokens, cannot perform any actions. The range we know how it's being measured. Cannot perform attacks or be the defender of an attack. Cannot gain tokens from cards, remove tokens. They can suffer wounds as normal. So yeah, choke is legal.
It's crazy good. Crazy.
I I never put two and two together on that one.
That's the game I found out I could do it, and now that's all I want to do.
That's smart though, because like let's just say because the other lot he was hiding Vader. Sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it makes sense
I'll choke
thematically
Vader.
too.
Yeah, I mean, they could feel the force, right? It's like I could feel this scattergun guy. So
What was it in one of the movies? I think it was four. A New Hope. Vader choked the guy through the screen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it does make
it makes
sense.
it makes sense.
It's
Although
just
Vader
what
had line of sight, so I don't
Does
know.
that count as line of sight? I know generally where he is.
He's got to be there somewhere. He's just choking everybody till he gets to him.
so there's gonna be a new unit now where it's gonna be like just video relays. You just kind of put your camera relays all over the map where you want, and if they're in range of the camera, in line of sight of the camera, you could just choke them regardless of where you are on the map.
Right, right.
I'm down for that. No, I'm not. AMG, please don't. Daniel, any games?
Yeah, so I played a tabletop simulator game. I played against Blizzard Force, and so that was exciting. I was trying out my it's my LVO list, but I think I'm also going to run it for Invader because I want to get competitive practice on it, and I think that's the best way. So I was running the double bounty, Bosk and CAD with my B1s, Magnus, and my generic separatist officer, and he was running three of the new heavy response units, the heavy response stormtroopers. I realized afterwards you can only have two, but at the time, neither of us realized it, so we played with three. And then there was two snow troopers. One of them was kitted out, and so it had the extra man and the flamethrower. The other one was naked. And then he ran two speeder bikes, Vader and Veers. So he had both the commanders in this one. Um, the game basically, my big takeaway from this game is that battle lines is phenomenal for bounty hunters. And if I get battle lines, there's just a really high percentage chance I'm going to win. Because we did our pick and ban. I was blue, so we used my deck. We ended up doing sabotage with battle lines and clear conditions. So we set up our evaporators, and he ended up putting his speeder bikes on one flank and Vader on another to try to like pin my guys in the middle. And I just had the Magnus kind of in the middle so they could deal with Vader when Vader got there. And then I put CAD up towards I used his divulge so that I put his tokens out and I put them up towards um his evaporators. And his evaporators were on the speeder side. So he had his speeders and his evaporators on one side, and Vader and my evaporators were on the other. And so the game basically turned into Vader went with one squad of snowtroopers and tried to take out my evaporators. And I decided that like Vader wasn't that big of a threat, so I kind of just pulled away from that. I did as much as I could on my evaporators before I left, and by the time Vader got there, he could only take off like a couple points out of my evaporators. I picked up the bounty off of Veers because when you start in battle lines, you start range 4 away. And so Bosk first turn was able to put some wounds on him, and then CAD just finished him off. And that's just it's just really it feels too easy with the with battle lines because I can always almost get an angle if I keep Bosk until the end and I have CAD. Um, so I felt kind of bad. CAD ripped up stormtroopers. He's very good at killing stormtroopers. The heavy response unit, I found that it's good, but once it starts taking wounds, it struggles because it only has two padding wounds. So one shot from CAD and there's a good chance you're losing a heavy weapon. And then all of a sudden you're just a mediocre, very wounded stormtrooper. And that's basically what happened. I think it was turn 2. I played CAD's 1-pip, and he shot and put 3 wounds on 2 heavy response units.
Ooh.
And so then both those were basically crippled. And so I just had CAD sitting there. I don't think I even put him in cover the rest of the game. He was like, "Oh, you want to shoot at him? I don't care. He has 2 dodges. I can take duck and cover, and then if you shoot at me, then next turn I'll play my thing where none of your guys can move." And so and he realized that he didn't shoot at CAD because there was almost no way he had enough firepower on that flank to kill CAD. His speeder bikes were probably the biggest threat, but 2 speeder bikes is not strong enough. I think you really need that 3rd speeder bike to be threatening. They swooped from one flank to try to come behind my lines, and they took out one squad of B1s, but then I brought in my Magnas, and 1 shot from each Magna on each speeder bike made it so that he only had 1 bike left in each squad. And 1 bike in each squad is, again, not really a threat, so I kind of let him do whatever they wanted. So it was a really good game. He played it really well, but I think battle lines against bounty hunters is really hard. And especially with Vader, because I can kind of just walk away from him. And so Vader did Vader things, but it wasn't enough to swing the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Force users need to know where your opponent's army is going to be, and Battle Lines is not that.
Yep.
Was it a ladder?
It was not. No, it was just Invader League practice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten a ladder game in. So
did you join?
I did, but I haven't gotten to play any games. So I'm one of those zeros at the bottom.
Oh. Adam's actually up there, even though it's despite only playing 1 game.
And I didn't even know it was a ladder, first time on TTS.
Got ambushed with the reporting.
You keep going with that story. You keep telling that lie.
Let's move over to battle decks and how we build in lists and stuff like that. And it's my turn. So I'll use my ISP list, how I built the ISP list. And that was quite simply, I bought the ISPs because I thought they looked cool. And I'm a kind of a completionist. At that time, only had 1 army and I want everything for that army. I bought 2 of them because I buy 2 of everything. I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? I have these guys collecting dust. I want to use them. And then I'm building them, and I was like, man, this would be a cool little suppression list. And I've always been a firm believer that the clones are a great suppression army. I believe they do it better than the Empire. That's just my personal opinion. Jose and I have gone toe-to-toe in chat over that. But I think if spec right and played right, and the Republic will out suppression the Empire. So that's why we're gonna say, well, I'm just gonna make a suppression list then. And the beam, that's awesome. 4 phase 2s with the motor. I mean, that's a whole lot of suppression. And then the clone commander, honestly, because I didn't have points for anything else. So that's how I built that list. And then my battle deck list, I know I need to go in and redo it, but honestly, I just picked play modes that I find fun. So hostage isn't in there because I don't really like hostage that much. Payload's not in there because I despise playing payload. So I mean, I guess that's a quick secret. If you guys have payload in your battle decks, I will be vetoing that if it comes up. So
why don't you like it?
I don't know. I think it's a combination of I'm inexperienced with it and I'm inexperienced with it.
Well, honestly, your list doesn't want it because you want payload if you have a Force user or melee units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my list wants like VAPs, key positions. Like, I just want to sit there. I don't want to move. Honestly,
hostage might be good for you as well, because if you can make the hostage unit panic, they drop the hostage.
That's hard against a Force user, though. I feel like you'd have enough bad matchups with that it's not worth it.
Yeah, possibly.
So I did hostage one time with my Shadow Collective list and against Roman. And I didn't like the way that played out. And granted, he threw Vader and Callus in there round 2, and I mean,
Mhm.
I did get the W on that one, but I didn't like it, and my list is not. I don't want to kill you. I don't really know if I can kill you. I just want you to run.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like, I don't really know if I want hostage. I did find on my learn to play, or not my learn to play game, but my game with David, I did find a huge flaw in my list, and I don't know how I'm going to counter it.
What's
I
that?
have no way to deal with impact. Like, or not deal with impact, to deal with armor. An
Oh, okay.
armor list like that saber tank. It, I didn't shoot it because it didn't matter.
Right.
Other than hoping for crits.
So
Mm.
that's how you deal with it. You ignore it.
Right. So, if since pikes are back, spiders aren't really a thing anymore. And so that means more vehicles are going to be brought, more armor is going to be brought. And unfortunately, I can't make a vehicle run away.
Yeah. I
This,
think the bigger risk for you is actually like a bus coming in
Yeah.
because you don't want that distance to be closed.
yeah, yeah. Let's go over
Um,
what you got for objectives. If we're gonna talk about your battle deck, we might as well talk about what you should be running.
Yeah, let me bring it up real quick.
So let's
You would
start
think
with
I would have been
objectives.
prepared. I think I would have been prepared and had this up. Oops, I just hit log out. So many buttons to click. There we go. All right, so my objectives right now are blank. I guess I never saved them. So let's go over it. So
Let's start with
objectives, I like
the
sabotage.
easiest one. Uh, yeah, you always take sabotage because you're a blue player, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah, you definitely want to play that one.
I
Uh,
do like breakthrough because that forces them to come to me.
yep, that's a good one for you too.
So key positions is another good one.
Yep.
So the last one is kind of like I don't want payload. I don't want bombing run. I
Why?
don't. Why? Because I don't want to move.
True, but you have two repulsor vehicles, and it's easier for vehicles to drop off bombs than any other army or any other
So
unit.
Yeah, but they don't want to move. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I mean,
my problem with that is so put it on the ISPs. Save the ISPs for last. I get both bombs off, and then I'm done. Like they're gonna die that turn or the next turn.
but
ISPs armor 3's not that good.
you don't have to drop them off turn 1 and turn 2. You could wait till turn 5 and 6 because on the opposite end of this is they also have to come to you, right? So if you're going up against a list that doesn't have any vehicles or any repulsor vehicles, they have to put them on troopers and they're going to come towards you, right? So that's an alternative that you could think of because you could wait to turn 6 and drop off a bomb, right?
yeah, if you
I'll,
measure it out and you just have your ISPs in range where they can double move drop,
Mhm.
that wouldn't be the end. Yeah, I don't know. It's not great, but it might be your best fourth
Yeah,
option.
that's what I'm saying. At looking at the rest of them, that's the best one I think. Payload's another one too. Is because I do agree it's not good for your army if they have a force user, but payload you're coming closer, but you're also moving too. So
so
that's why I would pick bombing run over payload.
my problem with payload um, is the cumbersome on the motors.
Right, right.
So that's
Um,
my problem with that. Um, Intercept transmissions or recover the supplies. I don't really want recover supplies again because I have to go get it.
right.
Yeah,
Intercept transmissions isn't. It was actually a decent one for my army when I played it the other day, but I don't know. I'll throw bombing run in and see how that plays out.
And I agree with you on recover the supplies. You have to go get the boxes. But you know where the middle box is. And that might be a play too. Like if you know where the middle box is, then you could set up the ISP, you could set up all the mortars just for that box.
I think recover the supplies is rough though because it's such a clean 5 points, right? It's not going to come down to anything except who gets that middle box.
Mhm.
And so if you're not sending someone out there, then it's gonna be really hard. Like you've got an uphill battle to
I
win that
agree.
game.
That's why I think bombing run's your best bet, Adam.
So we'll throw that in there, try that out. Deployments, I want advanced positions. I have recon on all my troopers that could take it. So being able to scout too, I'm all for that. Get my motor set up so I don't have to move them. So the other one I like is battle lines, just for the fact that, again, like Daniel said, you're starting at range 4. I don't really have to move. I'm good with that. I like long march, gives me a turn or two to set up before you're in range 4 anyway, so I can, do all that. So the last one I'm really kind of iffy about. I don't like disarray. I don't want hemmed in, and I don't want danger close. So that leaves rollout and major offensive.
You want a rollout.
Yeah, I think rollout's pretty good. Though I guess you kind of want your troopers to be in front of your ISPs, so I don't know how much you'll be using the advanced deployment.
Well,
So
honestly, I'd use rollout to, like, if you see that they have a guy in the front, then you ISP them to be able to shoot them turn 1, and then have your troopers like get into position turn 1.
So my problem with that is, so I throw ISP out, so range 1 of the deployment zone, and then that gets me, pretty darn close. If I'm in range, you're in range, going up against the saber tank that practically one-shotted my ISP. Like that's a losing an ISP round 1 is not a feel good situation.
What do you think about danger close?
Not a fan.
The one nice thing about Danger Close is that almost all of their army starts within panic range, where they'll panic off the board. So if you Danger Close, I'm not actually all that against for your list.
Because you get to scout, right? And since you're close to everybody, you're scouting into range already.
But the risk is that he doesn't want his troopers to be engaged in range 3 combat.
Right.
Yeah, I want everybody range 4.
You could always measure that out, right? It's just you're going to be able to shoot turn 1 as opposed to not being able to shoot turn 1.
Well, let's start in, and I'll try it out next game. Conditions are easy for me. I want hostile environment. I want war wary. I like fortified positions, and minefields. So I'm going to put in minefield. Fortified positions I'm kind of iffy about. I do not want limited visibility. I do not want rapid reinforcements. So that leaves supply drop, fortified positions, and clear conditions.
What is your bid on this list?
I'm at 792, so I have an 8-point bid.
Okay.
I guess it really comes down for clear condition and fortified position. Is honestly, I think you're right. You take 45 because you're not really trying to get wounds on. You're just trying to panic them.
And I like the mortars behind, just being able to set up that barricade and be like, this is where they're going to move to. And then they're going to stay there the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So that is my list, my battle deck. And you guys just saw how we made it. So that is a whole lot of trouble that hopefully you guys will get into. Quick segue into the bounty. We have not talked about it in a little bit. Bounty still standing against JR. Nobody has beat him yet. There was a rules clarification on the Discord. If you do play JR in the Escalation League, you do get the auto victory, but that auto victory does not count for the bounty. You have to actually beat JR. So
what if they beat me while we're doing the buy?
That's fine. They have to actually win the game, not just an auto win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the bounty was for 800 though.
I did not specify.
Okay.
So it's just the first person to beat you. And then I do have 2 things going on. The first one is a special prize for the first person to beat you. And then the second one is I am in the process of making a trophy, or a bounty trophy, I should say it is. And so as the first person that beats you will now have the bounty on their head. And that trophy will just keep passing around.
Nice.
What if you did like a different trophy. So like let's say Daniel beat me. So he got the Mando bounty, right? And then you do a Boba bounty trophy, and then whoever beats Daniel gets the Boba one, because then you'll know like, oh, we all have these unique bounty trophies that people have won off each other.
So
Cool.
what I was thinking, because we kind of talked about doing seasons. We haven't talked about it on air, but having different seasons and stuff for our tournament ladders. So for every tournament season put on by us, that's when we're going to have a different bounty. So whoever ends with the bounty at the end of season 1, or the first 3 months, whatever we decide, they get to keep that bounty forever. And then season 2 will have a second one.
I like that. We should also make a rule where like if Daniel won the bounty, like if he's challenged, he has to play that player.
Oh, like an honor system.
Yeah,
like
because like what
the
if
gauntlet's been thrown, I have to play.
Because what if Daniel really liked the trophy? He's like, I just have to say no to everybody and I just keep this.
I'm done with Legion for 2.5 months.
Well, and I don't want to do that, because that's if you like that bounty prize so much and you stop playing for 2.5 months, you just gave up on the tournament prizes.
Fair. But I mean, honor, bro. Honor. Come on.
I don't think we're gonna have a problem with a lot of people doing that, though.
That's true.
People like to play Legion, so
that's true.
It's a fun game.
Though JR has been hiding in his house for a long time now, so I can say.
Well, I just know if I lose this bounty, I'm coming after that person, and
just immediately.
Yeah, it's like I'm just gonna say no to Brian or JR because I don't need to play him.
I think JR is scared because he knows that people are starting to get good again, and he's had 3 or 4 close games.
I encourage how good everyone's getting. I love it so much because iron sharpens iron, my man. You just keep getting better.
That's for time. Let's jump into rules questions. JR, let's do 2 because we're kind of running long on time already.
Let me do 4 because I got quick ones. I got quick ones. You said 3 or 4, my man.
Let me do twice as many as you said. Let's do that.
Hold on. He said 3 or 4 earlier. Okay. So let me go with the first one. Can you play the hand thing if it's in a contingency pile?
I'm gonna say no, because it says you have to play it from your hand, and I think your contingencies are different than your hand.
What do you think, Adam?
I'm gonna say yes, because you can use the contingency function before, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna contingency this out to use this. Because if I remember correctly, there's nothing that says you have to use contingency at the start of your turn.
All right, so Daniel is right, because you can't play this command card, so you can't even contingency out, and it says it has to be played in hand. The Ace Up Your Sleeves Landos card is the only card so far that says that this can be played in the contingency pile. All right, easy peasy. That's a good one. Okay, this next one is, can I issue the Black Suns an order if I give the bus an order and it has on comms relay? Not boarding comms relay. Sorry, boarding comms relay.
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Adam, because I don't think the bus has the same affiliation, so I don't think the bus can issue the order to the Black Sun.
Yeah, this is some more BS that's tripping me out. Is you guys are right. Is they're not affiliated, so this is just a dead command or dead upgrade you don't put on your bus because you can't issue them order, and it sucks. It's real bad. I hate it. Okay, another one is, can a mini with the small keyword #Grogu be forward cohered to within range 1 of an enemy unit with incognito to be allowed to shoot them?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna say no.
So, what do you think, Adam? I know you said yes, but tell me.
So I'm gonna bring up the rules on incognito real quick, or not incognito, sorry, on the mini. But off the top of my head, it says that it can't be measured range 2. So attacking you can't, like, so if my phase 2s are attacking Iden, I can't count her droid. for range, but off the top of my head, I don't remember it saying that it's not vice versa.
So this is an interesting that I don't see a lot of people do in local, and I don't know if it does a lot of people do in general, but you were right, Adam, is you can cohere the small character. So Iden's, robot and C3PO and Grogu to forward out. And then you can measure range from Grogu as your range 2 gun. But if you're going to shoot back at Din, you have to measure to Din, which is so fascinating to me. So you have that extra range to use as your arsenal.
So that would work again. Iden with the droid,
Yeah.
C3PO with R2.
Yeah,
So it works all the way around.
Yeah, the small keyword technically says, I don't think C3PO has small, maybe not him,
but
the small keyword says that when you're being targeted, you can't count that many as part of it. But it doesn't say nothing about when you attack. So you can just shoot that guy out there and then just measure range from that. And then it's a good way to pop off and make them move and not take an aim.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, hold on though, because when you're measuring range, it has to be from the unit leader, right?
Yes, but the small or the counterpart is part of the unit leader. So you can measure from either or. It's not a unit. It's just this is my characters.
Okay.
Yeah, counterpart's interesting in that sense.
Sorry, my dog wants love.
All right. My favorite question that I brought up, because we've been talking about it, but it's a little different wording. Can Darth Vader use the command card Vader's Might to move a unit that is being transported?
Oh, what is the wording on Vader's might?
Let me bring it up and I will put it on the screen. So Vader's might: choose another non-heavy unit at range 1 and place that unit on the battlefield within range 1 and height 1 of its current location. Then, if it's an enemy unit, roll 1 white defense die for each mini in the unit. That unit suffers 1 wound for 1 defense, or for each paint, basically.
I'm gonna say that you can pull something out of a transport because you can measure range to it still.
I will agree with Daniel because I think it's a 4-stroke situation. It doesn't really specify you can't in the rules.
You don't need line of sight or anything for it.
And it's not an action.
Well, you guys are both right, and I think it's the best thing ever because Vader's the only character that could be like, "Oh, you think you're protecting close transport? Yeet," and just delete. Yeah, so you can close transport, orbit transport. You could take any guy out of there with this command card.
That is pretty cool. I've never
Yeah.
thought about that application before.
That's why everybody is like sleeping in our local scene on Vader's Might because it's situational. But honestly, you could pull some gnarly things with Vader's Might in the right circumstances.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Vader, period.
Well, a lot of people play Vader. It's just some of the command cards they're sleeping on, in my opinion.
I don't know. When I win the Battle Force box, I might get back into Empire.
Hey, you need to. That's what you need to do.
Actually, I was thinking about it the other day. Like, what would I get? And I think I'm gonna go Rebels, just because I want something different. Empire, Empire and Republic play pretty much the same, or not pretty much the same, but they have a lot of similarities.
And you got CIS.
I don't want to play CIS. Screw them. Like, they can burn forever in a pit of fire for all I care. And the other reason, like, I don't want to go Empire, and this is 100% truth bomb right here. I'm tired of painting white.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is very fair.
All right, so let's go to probably where we're gonna have our first on-air argument.
Where you guys gonna lose?
Best unit in the game. I mean, I could just save time and tell you all this OP Luke, get over it. But Daniel, why is AAT better than OP Luke?
AAT, I think, is gonna be the solution to a lot of where the meta is moving. The AAT, I think, matches up extremely well against the pikes. It's going to match up really well against the kinds of lists that we're seeing, like the Iden Bobo with all the little snipers and the small squads. You'll be able to wipe an activation every turn with an AAT at range 4. That's a huge deal. I also think that, like we talked about with the Ion Spiders kind of shifting out because the pikes scare the Ion Spiders, that means armor is going to come back in, and the AAT is just a phenomenal answer to armor, being one of the best armor units in the game. So that's why I think it's more than worth its points.
JR, why is Maul better than the AAT and OP Luke?
Well, first off, I don't even have to say anything about Maul just to prove that Maul is the best. It's because AAT's problem is line of sight blocking. You could just, you can't shoot me. It's big, it's clunky, it's hard to maneuver around the board. And it doesn't contribute to a lot of the objectives already. So you're already shooting yourself in the foot with an AAT. That I think that's why it's not the best unit in the game. OP Luke, sure, has, disengage and it's 7 blacks, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't contribute. He can't do objective play as good as Maul can. So here's the thing with Maul. Maul's can do everything good. He has a good defense. He has a better attack pool than OP Luke and the AAT. He can play the objective. I mean, there's not another unit in the game that can move, tap the objective, attack, move, tap the objective, move, tap the objective, saber throw, move, tap the objective, recover, move, tap the objective, take a dodge, move. He could do so many things. I mean, turn 2, you can infiltrate Maul on turn 1. You can go on turn 2 to take the box and still have another action. Like 3 actions, nobody can beat Maul in an objective play. No one can beat Maul in the dice pool. No one can beat Maul in, just force push. He got so many things. He's a swift armor knife.
So OP Luke to me trumps the AAT. So the main reason is once I get to the AAT, I just initiate melee. So the AAT can't shoot me. And yes, I understand like it can still shoot out. It's still not technically in melee, but it was a rule, I think, against Jose, and I did not realize. I ran up Annie? So I ran up some melee unit with high impact to one of his vehicles, and no, I'm sorry, it was vice versa. He ran up Annie to one of mine, and like I was like, "Cool, I'm just gonna shoot him." And he's like, "No, because we're still technically in melee combat. You cannot shoot me. You can shoot anybody else. You just can't shoot me." We took it to the Star Wars Legion pages to LJ and all that, and he was right. I will never admit Jose was right again, so Jose, take that as you can. So that's why I think he gets an AAT. He is small enough, quick enough, nimble enough to get there, no problem. And once he's there, the AAT doesn't really have an answer for him. Against Maul, it's a close one. I am not going to lie. Maul is versatile. Maul is a great objective player. Just I like OP Luke better. That's honestly what it came down to. Because their stats and the stuff like that, to me, they're very comparable. They're very good at what they do. Maul does win a little bit more for that third action. Completely agree. But it's down to me. It's a personal opinion. I like OP Luke better.
We should take a poll in the Discord to see who would choose what. Because honestly, if the roles were reversed, if Maul had OP Luke stuff and OP Luke had Maul stuff, I would automatically say Luke. Just because of the way the game's played. It's just hard to say like 3 acts and then free actions. It's just too good.
I think that's what it is. Is not even really give OP Luke Maul stuff. But if you were to give OP Luke that third action, done.
Oh yeah.
The trick is that with Maul, a lot of times that third action does have to be a recover. So even though like theoretically it's a phenomenal third action, it is spoken for on most turns because you do want to use that force push so often. And Luke doesn't have to do that. So then Luke effectively does have a little bit more action, even though it is a little bit more. It has to be like an attack because he has to do the charge attack. Or
Yeah, which is you're right. But a lot of the times in the circumstances that you find yourself in, you have that option to be like, oh, I could just tap the objective, win the game, or I could just take a dodge instead of you getting that force pushback.
Yeah, the flexibility is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll add a poll onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/
Why don't you do it on the Discord?
That's 559. I will also add it to the Discord. Both links will be on your screen and within the show notes and stuff. Hop onto the Discord, hop on our Facebook page, and let us know what you think. Maul, OP Luke, or AAT.
Damn, he asks us who we think is the best, and then shit on Oliver Daniels.
Well, I mean, honestly, AAT's good. I like it. I would say it's the best armored unit in the game. 100%. I don't think it's the best unit in the game.
Well, that's debatable. Like, if we were to go down in categories, I think the bus is a close one to the AAT just because of what the bus can do.
And because it's so inexpensive, because it starts at like a third of the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still take the AAT in 8v1s.
That's really the objective validity of that is huge.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the AAT is what it's really got going for is firepower. That's about it, you know. And the high velocity shells, which makes it really good. But
high velocity and barrage are pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's it for pikes. Like pikes don't match up against an AAT. Whereas like everything else they match up well against.
It can only wipe one unit in one turn. It's not.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but the same reason why Maul is the best is because he's versatile. The bus is very versatile in what it can do.
It's true.
The bus to me is a high risk, high reward.
That's the same thing with Maul. High risk, high reward.
Yeah. That's all I got for the show, guys. I mean, we are still undecided about the best unit game. Again, guys, head over to our Facebook, head over to Discord, let us know. Let's start this this internet fight. And then you guys got anything to add? Any news? Any
I don't think so.
I guess we're just gonna skip the how do I build tables, you know, trying to tell everybody how. No, just kidding. I'm just messing with
you. We've skipped that like the last 7 episodes now.
You're
I just build tables for personal advantage. Like, what am I running this game? That's what my table is going to be. AAT, there's not going to be anything. Actually, no barricades either. We're just walking at each other.
That's where Daniel cheats right there on the
table. We'll see Daniel game on live stream and all the terrain's just kind of surrounding him, and then his opponents.
It's literally just the outside of the.
Yeah, the whole like that's the border of the map.
We're fighting in a crater, guys. It's fine.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time today. Thank you, everybody out in podcast world, for watching, listening, and thank you all for finding the Lost Legion. Until next time.
See you guys.